I was the heartbreak train.
You're f***ing stupid.
I can't afford this. Do it live. What? What's this bullshit?
Do I think that some of the energy and vitriol and just discussion about this game is happening because it is a lead female black character and it is on a PlayStation game versus an Xbox game? Yes, I do.
You're f***ing stupid.
You know what? Alex must really, really hate me. Why else would he give me a Steam code for Forspoken? There's no other explanation. I must have done something wrong. What sort of friend does this?
F is for friends who do stuff together. U is for you and me. N is for...
Well, I know it, but I don't think I should say it.
Well, either way, I've already put my first hour into Forspoken, and you know what? The gameplay, the performance, the dialogue, it's not as bad as Twitter made it out to be. It's far worse. I didn't think it was possible to make me hate a female protagonist more than Abby, but god damn it, Square pulled it off. The lead writers to this game seriously thought their main character could win over the audience swearing like a 5th grader.
The f*** is up with the animals here?
Okay.
You're f***ing stupid. What the f***? Need to get these f***ing birds out of the way.
You have to use so many cuss words.
It was quite possibly the first time in my life I was ever off-put by swear words. And that's probably because this voice actress sucks. I'm gonna be real with you. She sucks. It's almost as if this is the first voice acting gig she's ever gotten in her entire life. And lo and behold, that's apparently true, because she hasn't voice acted in anything else. Everything about the delivery of her lines just comes off so unnatural. Unfortunately, she was born cringe and she will die cringe, because some people simply don't have it. And it especially doesn't help that her voice acting is backed by a horrendous script. They really stuffed as many Marvel tropes into her as they possibly could. The only real twist to this game that you don't usually see these days is that they made the minority character a registered criminal. That to me was honestly the biggest surprise. Look, I understand that Bethesda games recycle the same voice actor for like 100 different characters, but that person still puts far more effort into each of those individual characters than Ella Polinska does for one lead role. I understand that dialogue isn't everything going for a game, but unfortunately, Forspoken makes it the highlight. It's a highly narrative-focused game. There is simply no escaping it. Just like there's no escaping the frame drops. Got a 4090? Too f***ing bad. There is no escaping the terrible optimization of this game, no matter what rig you have, and no matter what console you have. On my RTX 3080, with the majority of settings set to low, resolution at 1440p, but with DLSS enabled, I would frequently drop down to frame rates of 38 FPS. And that goddamn lighting, I can't explain it, but there's something with the lighting system in this game I cannot stand. I've seen far better implementation of cube mapping from games that are 10 years old. And to think just a year ago, the developers were bragging about how they were gonna have the highest quality graphics ever seen in any open world game ever.
Oh my.
And yet, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I've seen more competent projects from Ubisoft and EA. But above all, the biggest problem with the first 60 minutes of Forspoken I experienced is how often the game really loves to take control away from the player, especially when it comes to the game wanting to explain to you every single little mechanic in the most tedious way possible, by not allowing the player to advance further without doing what the game tells them to. Hey, we get it. You want to go run into this big open world we just put in front of you. But sorry, you can't do that until you open up the menu so we can show you where everything is. As if gamers are too stupid to navigate a menu. Like it has to stop your momentum. to explain to you how to navigate through a menu. The first 60 minutes of this game left such an awful impression that I couldn't take it any further. I had to shut it off and wait for my THC tolerance to drop before I feel ready to boot it up ever again. All I can say is if those 60 minutes are what I'm going to have to put up with for the next 70 plus hours, then I feel like I'm owed a refund even though I never even bought this game. Honestly, if AI could develop games, this is probably what it would come up with. No, come on, Frit. What about the gameplay? The gameplay is serviceable. Just barely passable. I've played worse, but I also don't think I've ever played something so mid before in my life either. Whatever Forspoken doesn't completely fail at doing, it just barely manages to underachieve. It's almost as if the developers just started programming and didn't really know what this game should be till the last year of its development. This makes the final chapter of Metal Gear Solid 5 look more complete. Damn, Frit, I get that you're a junkie, but you sound pretty reasonable right now. Well, I'm glad you think so. Unfortunately, Twitter doesn't. Both Square Enix and PlayStation fanboys are still living in denial. You can present them with everything I've just said about the game, and they'll still come to the conclusion that I'm only hating on it because it's a timed PlayStation exclusive and because I hate black female lead characters, apparently.
You got me.
From pulling the trigger on Forspoken at $70. Part of it is the good stuff I'm hearing from people who are playing it, and the fact I did enjoy the demo. The other part is I want to buy it to spite the assholes who clearly don't like women, black people, or PlayStation.
Why do all people always have to ruin the fun?
David Jaffe? For real? David Jaffe said that. That's the creator of the original God of War games. A goddamn legend. What happened that turned all of my childhood icons into such cucks? Nothing past 2016 makes sense anymore. Jesus Christ, old man, that's too much internet for you, all right? Put it down. For the love of God, please, I want to remember you for the legacy you left behind in the games industry, not the legacy you left behind on Twitter. My man went from creating the iconic Kratos dropping from Mount Olympus scene to battling what's left of Gamergate on Twitter. Also, I have absolutely no idea who he's talking about. The majority of people I've seen defending this game are a bunch of white boys. Well, I've seen the majority of the black community on social media trashing Forspoken. Good chunk of them were women too. And to be quite honest with you, if they made the main lead a white woman, it would probably be twice as cringe due to the nature of a Karen. The only people I see bringing anything up about race and gender are just a bunch of white people. Why is that? The discussion about how bad this game is mainly stems from the dialogue and performance. That has been the highlight of the discussion. Why are these jackasses trying to pretend like it's related to something else that nobody even brought up other than them? And as for the PlayStation remark, I have absolutely no idea where that came from. You're gonna buy this game to spite people who hate PlayStation? You wanna support Sony putting out turds like this? Or, I mean, if you wanna eat dog shit to get back at Gamergate, be my guest. Y'all white people are so weird.
Did I just do that?
Well, definitely with my assistance.
I did not just do that.
We did.
I just moved with my mind.
Perhaps our connection has somehow awoken some abilities.
I just moved with my mind.
I just keep hearing I.
I just moved with my freaking mind! Yeah, okay, that is something I do now. I do magic, talk to sentient cuffs, kill jacked up beasts. You know what?
I'm sorry, but she is just awful. Is there any way, I mean, can we add like a topless scene or something?
The dialogue is so cringy. My brothers, sisters in Christ, do not try and for a second convince me that if you successfully magic an enemy creature in the face for real, that you wouldn't do the same exact thing or twice as long. Passionate bewilderment is a human thing.
Who in the hell just brushes off experiencing the supernatural for the first time in their life and just casually joke about it? And I'll tell you who does that. MCU characters, not real life people. Also, why are we comparing a fictional setting to real life? She was written to say that. Of everything they could have had her say, that is what they wrote down. But never mind that, it's not solely what she said. It's the delivery of the line, let's be real. She did not deliver it well at all. That was cringe-inducing. There's a reason the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles can say things like cowabunga and not sound like a complete asshole while they do it. I don't understand where the desire to defend such horrendous, cringy-ass dialogue stems from. Have people's standards really plummeted this low? I present to you actual dialogue from Forspoken.
Destruction and corruption are forms of creation in themselves.
Wow, you sound like a serial killer.
What?
Destruction and corruption are beautiful forms of creation in themselves.
I don't sound like that.
You absolutely sound like that.
I know you absolutely sound like that.
Oh, Mr. Maddie of all people, roasting Forspoken? The same guy that said Fallout 4 is a near masterpiece.
I will go to the length of saying it is near perfect, which is a word I never use to describe a video game.
Oh, how the times have changed. You know your dialogue is really bad when Mr. Maddie Plays is out to get you.
I feel like you want to dunk on the dialogue of a game. You should have picked the one that's actually good.
What happened? When did our standards get so low? When did we go from
nothing to impede progress? If you want to see the fate of democracies, look out the windows.
So let me get this straight. I'm somewhere that's not what I would call Earth. I'm seeing freaking dragons, and oh yeah, I'm talking to a cop.
Jesus Christ, the MCU has done irreversible damage. Dear God, I dread the next generation of writers. The writing is so goddamn cringe at some point, you expect Frey to just say, it's Forspokening time. I was genuinely surprised 3,000 people unironically agreed with this guy. That's actually kind of terrifying. The fact that in the year 2023, people can't identify cringe is a legitimate concern of mine now.
This is nowhere near as bad as that other clip though. This one is actually pretty much fine.
Mofo paid $8 for Twitter.
Y'all watched and loved 2 Deadpool movies with the exact same humor as this.
What? First off, I find Deadpool to be completely cringe, but even I can acknowledge it's nothing like Forspoken. They aren't on the same level of humor, not even close. Just because they both have moments of quippy humor doesn't mean they're both executing it exactly the same. Frey's remarks don't carry the joke anywhere. She just says cringe for the sake of it, whereas Deadpool is actually trying to tell a joke. And also oftentimes the personality of a character can really carry a joke. Unfortunately for us, Frey in Forspoken doesn't have one, unless you consider try hard to be a personality trait. Either way, this is just deflection, and pretty bad deflection at that. 88,000 people agreed with this man. Just think about that for a second. 88,000 thought this was a brilliant response. He couldn't even get his point across without attacking another piece of media, one that's completely unrelated to a video game. You're not supposed to encourage deflection, internet, because it pollutes the discourse and it makes people retarded.
Y'all just like complaining, huh? They do, it's so annoying. Like, this clip fits the character. A teenager that is placed into a magical world, learning how to do magic, so immature quips are going to be a thing. God forbid they find a little bit of joy in a quite depressing situation.
Ooh. Why do they all have blue check marks? All of them! Again, Twitter's retarded. So goddamn stupid. First off, she's not a teenager, you dumbasses. Frey's character is supposed to be 20, on the verge of turning 21. Why do they just make shit up on the spot to defend this game. What is it about this game that is enticing people to want to cap for it this hard? They're literally having to come up with their own headcanon for why the dialogue is cringe. Think about that. You don't get it. It's supposed to be corny and cringe because, you know, that's what teenagers are. Oh yeah, sure, let me guess. Next you're going to tell me that the game is purposefully poorly optimized because real human eyes can't see past 30 FPS.
I really don't see what's so bad about this. It's just the same generic mainstream banter you see in MCU films. Feels weird to single this game out for having cringe dialogue when this kind of sarcastic main character is a really pervasive presence in entertainment right now.
Now that is a whoosh moment if I've ever seen one. Point went right over this man's head. The man just pointed out exactly what everybody dislikes about the dialogue in this game, and yet doesn't realize what he just said. Not only is this character trope far too played out in our entertainment right now, but this is easily the cringiest depiction of it I've ever seen. We don't want the gaming industry to follow in the footsteps of Hollywood. How you didn't reach that conclusion when you made this tweet is beyond me.
The dialogue and that hashtag Forspoken clip going around isn't any worse than the vast majority of dialogue in like Uncharted or Spider-Man or Horizon. Y'all have already decided to hate this game and are just making up reasons to support that.
I'm telling you, something about the cap for this game is unnatural. I don't know what's going on. What are people hearing and seeing exactly when they play this? I played the first 60 minutes of it, and it most certainly was as cringe as all of those clips that have been circulating on the internet. The only difference is when you're playing it, it's happening consistently. They really think the writing of this game is on par with that of Horizon Zero Dawn, Uncharted, and Spider-Man. Are you kidding me? And why does it always have to be a blue check mark?
Gonna be straight with y'all about Forspoken. You could find wildly cringe dialogue in almost any AAA game. This is not even in the top 100 worst things I've heard. The increased scrutiny of this game is obviously because it's a black woman protagonist.
I have a fat stack of Gamer Word passes that's been handed to me by every single race in the community. I'm tempted to use all of them right now. Yes, you can find cringe dialogue in just about any AAA game you can think of. That is true. However, I don't think I've ever played a AAA game where the cringe dialogue doesn't stop for a full-on 70+ hours. This may be the first one to ever pull it off. It's so bad the developers gave people a slider that makes Freya talk less because it's that annoying. When the developers include a feature like that, what do you think they're trying to say themselves? Not a single goddamn response to the valid criticism of this game has been good. None. Zero. I can't find a single good argument against any criticism about this game. It's all been deflection or baseless accusations. Are people really that attached to Square Enix? You remember how hard people were on High on Life, and rightfully so, for how annoying and corny the dialogue was? There's a reason that game had a similar feature that made it so the character talked less. But when Forspoken does it, and people point it out, we just have to accuse them of hating the game because they're all racist. You know, ma'am, this game does run at 24 FPS, so lots of games run at 24 FPS. Well, just because this game runs at 24 FPS and it has a black female lead? You know, ma'am, the game is $70, so I see plenty of games with white protagonists at $70. Ma'am, the game is a 68 on Metacritic, so lots of games with white people are 68 on Metacritic. She doesn't notice it, but this is the exact discourse she's having right now. What was that? Oh, the PlayStation fanboys, duh. Oof. We haven't even gotten to the good ones. The PlayStation fanboys. Take it away. Forspoken preview. It's an absolute blast. Fun, beautiful, has a combat system, impressive. So much to do in the game.
Why are you so into daily hate tweets lately? Just ignore games you're not interested in. I don't get it, man.
Hate tweet? I am not getting this game, no, but I can still talk about it, though.
You post several times a week to send hate towards this game. It's
Yeah, nothing like some good old PlayStation fanboy infighting to go with your morning coffee and joint, eh? My god, who would have ever thought this Hunter guy was such an FAGGOT? He's also a blue check mark. Another one! I honest to God could not believe I read this tweet. Payo is indeed a PlayStation fanboy, and yes, he can be quite cringe at times, but nothing what he said about this game in his post was negative. All he did was post a picture of what critics were saying about the game. My best guess is that because Hunter is a massive PlayStation fanboy himself, he perceives whatever isn't said positively about this game must be negative. But we all know Payo. He treads lightly when it comes to talking about PlayStation games. So in order for this Hunter guy to have freaked out the way he did, he must be an absolute bitch.
Forspoken is rated higher than the last 5 Xbox releases. Not too shabby.
Hide your brain cells, it's J-Dub, the same jackass that celebrated the death of a developer to further his console war agenda. The man is unhinged, but most importantly, he's really stupid. The day of release for Forspoken was spent all day on Twitter for him. This man put more hours into damage controlling the game than he put into playing it. I remember there was a time whenever PlayStation fanboys would compare review scores that at the very least their games would be in the green. Now they're bragging about their games being in the yellow. My god, how the mighty have fallen. I don't even know why he put Bleeding Edge on there. That game came out in 2020. J-Dub was really expecting Forspoken to be somewhere in the 90s at the very least. So all the memes that he spent months preparing for before launch didn't end up working, but he decided to use them anyway. Man is down bad. I never thought the day would come where I would see PlayStation fanboys fighting over whose game is the least mid. The man had to skip an entire year of Xbox releases to try and make his meme work. Goddamn Pentiment scored higher than Forspoken. That's just sad. But then again, it is Obsidian. They actually know how to write their games. But on the other hand, Forspoken is a Square Enix game. That's not a small studio by any means. So expectations should be far higher. But instead, J-Dub is celebrating how close it is to Scorn's review score. Oh my god, what happened to him? The blocking spree he went on launch day puts even J-Tech TV to shame. I fear for this man's life come launch day for Starfield.
Starfield is locked at 30 FPS, but PS guys aren't losing their minds about it because we don't care. People losing their minds over Forspoken is clearly a cry of desperation.
Ah yes, of course. The $70 game running at 24 FPS and resolutions of 720p shouldn't be a problem for anybody with expensive hardware. Just put up with it. Quit being desperate to dunk on Forspoken and PlayStation's greatness. Jesus Christ, when these consoles were promoted as being 4K, 120 FPS gaming machines, these peasants were all over it, eating it up. Now that the games are back to their last gen frame rates, they don't care anymore again. How convenient. Well, too bad I'm not a console player, I'm a PC gamer, so I do care about every single frame I can get out of my GPU. If you don't care, then why did you even get a next-gen console? You know what, actually? That's the last one. I'm done. Who would have ever thought the PlayStation fanboy comments couldn't even be the worst ones in a video of mine? The discourse surrounding this game is so disingenuous, it honestly baffles me. I don't even understand why there is such a strong defense force for this game, because come Friday, the Dead Space remake is coming out, and this game will go from Forspoken to forgotten. It won't even live in the minds of most of the people defending it for more than 3 days. It really says something when arguing about this game online is a lot more fun than playing it. Jesus Christ, who would have ever thought that asking for good writing, good performance, good gameplay, and good visuals would be asking for too much in 2023. Hell, I never thought I would be labeled a racist just for asking for the bare minimum. You know what? The games industry is failing to deliver to me. So how about you guys make up for that by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing if you so choose to. Well, that being said, I'll do my best not to see you next time.
And I want to see where the chips fall, because if I knew that I didn't wait on this story, Tango Plays would have made a video roasting me for about 30 minutes.
You're goddamn right.